Hello, and welcome to Western Wisconsin Journal. My name is Melissa Peliquin. I am with the Pioneer Press, TwinCities.com, and a history enthusiast here in Hudson. On today's program, we'll be sharing details about Yellowstone Trail Heritage Days, which is a community-wide event coming up on Saturday, June 6th and Sunday, June 7th. My special guest today is Jackie Bradham. Welcome.
Thank you.
Jackie represents the St. Croix County Historical Society, and she's going to speak today about the influence of the Yellowstone Trail and its impact in Hudson. For those of you who don't know, the Yellowstone Trail was the first transcontinental automobile route established in 1912. It ran from Puget Sound in Washington State to Plymouth Rock in Massachusetts. One iconic stop along the way was Yellowstone National Park, thus its name. Jackie, can you speak to kind of the historical impact of the Yellowstone Trail throughout Hudson?
Well, when you came into Wisconsin from Minnesota, Hudson Toll Bridge was the entrance into Wisconsin. It was built, got its start in 1910 when the boosters formed, the bridge boosters, and they formed to raise money and to bring awareness to the bridge. Like all bridges, it had a lot of controversy when it went in. The ferry owners at the time were very opposed to a bridge going in and losing their livelihood with the bridge. It took till about 1913 to get the bridge built, and it officially was opened on June 14th of 1913. Horace Champlin was one of the fellows who first envisioned the bridge, and then Harry North was the person who submitted it to the city of Hudson. It was a very tall bridge, and I've always heard you would come down from Minnesota down off the bluff down to the Dike Road, where there was a toll house for many, many years. It was a toll bridge, and then it remained in existence until the 1950, I think 50 or 51, when the highway interstate was put in. So it served as a toll bridge. It created quite a good revenue for the city of Hudson, and our taxes were low back then because the money that was raised from the toll bridge could be used for street repairs and things like that. So it has a lot of interesting history. It was a very scenic bridge going over the beautiful St. Croix River. So lots of history on that about the bridge.
That's wonderful. Considering the era of this time period, obviously automobiles were a big deal crossing that bridge, and one of the unique events that we're having in regards to this event on June 6th and 7th is a car show, which is going to take place on Saturday. And I am curious to know, what is the impact of automobiles within our community, and what is the actual route of Yellowstone Trail as it came across Hudson, the toll bridge, Dike Road, etc.
The toll bridge was the entrance. So you'd come into Hudson and you'd go over the beautiful Hudson Arch. So thanks to Boyd Williams, who was a local physician who strongly believed in advertising. He's responsible for getting that Hudson Arch, which is so prominent down there on Walnut Street at Lakefront Park.
Yeah, very iconic for the community.
It is, and it has for years. So he did know a little bit about advertising. So you would go up Walnut Street, and then the route would go to 3rd, and it would. There were two different routes. Originally, it went 3rd. And then down St. Croix, or out St. Croix Street to County Road A, and then it would eventually catch Highway 12. And if you get out in the Highway 12 area where it's kind of hilly, there are actually some roads out there called Yellowstone Road or Yellowstone Street. I'm not sure which it is. So if you look for it, you can find it out there. And the other route that it would take out of town is from 3rd Street. It would go out on Vine, and then it would connect up again with Highway 12. So depending upon what time period it was in the early 1950s or later back in the 1920s, I think I'm not exactly sure when the route changed, but had different routes through town, but it took people through the downtown business district and then out of town, and of course on to Menominee. And the route goes all the way through 18 counties in Wisconsin and exits through Kenosha if you're going to the
Further
east.
out.
Or we're either the first thing you see, Hudson was either the first stop in Wisconsin or the last stop before Minnesota, so depending on whether you were going to or from the Yellowstone Trail. And the trail was active, I believe, until the 1930s. So.
As you drive around Hudson, for those of you who may spot them, you'll actually see some yellow rocks that have been painted by the Yellowstone Trail Heritage Days Committee in celebration. Several years ago, the mayor of Hudson at the time, Dean Knutson, helped us put together some signs that have marked the trail throughout our downtown area specifically, and up out onto Highway 12. So if you're driving and you're out and about, you yourself can explore the trail at your leisure at any time. Just spot the yellow rocks and the signs that you see. One of the iconic buildings that was on the trail at the time, Dick's Bar and Grill, actually has a sign erected on the building, kind of to commemorate its importance on the trail as you came up Walnut Street. So if you're out and about, take a look at those yellow rocks. The events that we're having on June 6th and 7th, Saturday and Sunday, like I mentioned, one of the big ones is the Classic Vintage Car Show. It will have dash plaques and trophies will be awarded to our first, second, and third places. So by all means, for all of you car enthusiasts, come out and see the cars that we'll be having. Another fun event also is the geocaching. For those of you who aren't familiar with geocaching, it's a fun kind of all ages event, and you can do it at your leisure, but it's little boxes that are hidden throughout the community that have a tie to Yellowstone Trail. So you're welcome to come down to Dick's Bar and Grill at 8 a.m. and join in the festivities of using your GPS to find these little hidden treasures. Another event that we're having on Saturday is the Nonprofit Community Fair. That's from 10 to 2. Nonprofits throughout the community are welcome to join us, set up a table, kind of share with the community about the fun events that take place kind of via these organizations, and gives you a chance to do a little one-on-one with the people who make those organizations happen. I know the Historical Society is an important nonprofit here in this community, and by all means, come see the other organizations as well. This is an all-ages event. Weekend, and one of the great things is the kids are absolutely welcome to come down and do some coloring and some chalk drawing and some fun, hopefully a bounce house and things like that to get them engaged and kind of learn about the history of Hudson and its impact with the Yellowstone Trail significance. Jackie, do you want to speak to kind of more of the historical specific events that we're having throughout the weekend?
Well, we call this Yellowstone Trail Heritage Days because it's one of the few community events that celebrates Hudson's history and heritage. One of the events that I'm very fond of because I organize it is the Willow River Cemetery Walk. It had an early start back in 2003. We ran it for a couple of years. And then it kind of went stagnant for a little bit. But with the Yellowstone, when the Yellowstone Trail days started, we reinitiated the cemetery walk. And that's an event where we have actors and actresses portray spirits of former Hudson residents at their grave sites. So you get to tour around the cemetery and listen to the life story of the different characters throughout the cemetery. We're currently working on scripting it. We have 4 of the 6 actors I need, so I'm still looking for a few more would-be actors. This is a great one-time event, we also have a choir, we call it the Pearly Gate Choir, and they sing hymns from traditional funeral hymns, things like When the Roll is Called Up Yonder, and Amazing Grace, and several old familiar hymns. So it's enjoyable to that choir. I always want to practice with the choir, but I can never be in the choir because I have to organize the event. So it's fun. So we're still looking for people that are interested in joining the choir. We have a couple practices throughout May, and then the performance for the cemetery walk. As people wait for the tours to begin, the tours will begin every half hour. They can listen to the choir while they're waiting. And that is the cemetery walk is going to be on Saturday, June 6th. And it's from noon to 4 with tours leaving on the half hour. And there is an admission for that. Many of the activities for Yellowstone Trail are free, like all the community fair and the car shows and things like that. But we do charge an admission for the cemetery walk as a way to help bring programming like that to the Historical Society so that we can do more of these type of things.
Well, and it's well received in our community.
Yes,
I know you
it's
get
fun.
glowing reviews from those who play the actors.
Yes, well,
the
one
spirits
of
of Hudson.
our favorite actors is Daryl Standifer doing Charlie Ward. He is not only a dead ringer, but since he first played Charlie Ward on Yellowstone during the first cemetery walks, everybody and his brother has been sharing history about Charlie Ward with Daryl. So he's becoming our city resident expert on Charlie Ward, who was a very fascinating person. So cemetery walks, we try to change the script up and the particular spirits that each year so that it's new and different. I think one of the actresses that's coming back this year is Mary Frances McKay, and she is playing her great-grandmother, Catherine Lewis. So that's our first descendant of a spirit that's actually playing by her great-granddaughter. So that's kind of neat. We're still working on some of the other casting, but Jim Bula has been at 3 or 4 of our cemetery walks. He's played a variety of parts, and I believe that this year we'll have him doing William Phipps. So that's a huge name in Hudson. The Phipps family has done a lot for the history of Hudson and to improve the quality of life in Hudson with the things like the Phipps Center for the Arts, and they were instrumental in getting the Hudson hospitals up and started back in the 1950s. So yeah, it's really fun to learn about these different people and their influence and how they touched the history of Hudson and how they've changed our history and made our town such a nice place to live.
And that event will take place rain or shine, correct?
Yes, that's rain or shine. We are fortunate up in the cemetery. There's the Humberg Chapel that was built in honor of David Humberg. I believe it was built around the 1920s. It's a beautiful building, but over the years it kind of was neglected, you know. But the Vintage Neighborhood Alliance has been doing just wonderful, wonderful work on refurbishing that building, and it is beautifully restored. I don't believe that project is finished, but it is in good enough condition that it's well on its way. It's beautiful. Jean and Wayne Hout are volunteers with the Historical Society, but also very involved in the Vintage Neighborhood Alliance. And Wayne will oftentimes give tours during our 8th grade history tour. He will give tours of the chapel, and it's just wonderful to see the renovation of the building. The stained glass windows have all been refurbished, and it's painted a beautiful soft green, which Wayne told me the color was called Spirit Green, which was so appropriate for the building. And it's wonderful to see that building cherished and restored. So.
I know another popular part of this kind of Saturday stuff is the tours that you have at the Octagon House, in addition to the walking tours that take place downtown.
Yes, we are open for tours. We've got new hours this year. On Saturdays, we're going to start opening earlier at 10 o'clock. So you can come and tour the Octagon House Museum. It's a guided tour. It takes about an hour to get through. And this year we have a new theme, and our theme for the Octagon House Museum tours is transitions, 100 years of change. So we're going from 1855 to 1955 and showing how things have changed, like communications, how different that is in 1850s versus 1950s. And music, the family was a very musical family, so some of the changes in the music and food preservation and clothing and fashion. Fashion is one of my passions, and just
indicative of your dress.
Yes. I just got done working on decorating the museum, and my favorite room, of course, is the master bedroom, where I have clothing from 1855 up to 1950. So we have the 1900s and the 19-teens, which is one of my favorite eras. The fashion there was just phenomenal, the Art Nouveau and styles and things like that. And then we get into the 20s, flappers, beaded dresses, and into the 30s with all the nice bias cut, beautiful gowns. And then we wrap that up with the 1950s, the organdy crinoline type dresses. So you get to see all of them all in one room. And then out on the sleeping porch, which is attached to the master bedroom, we've put a sneak preview of all the underclothing. So,
ooh, risque.
All those layers back in the Victorian era. It was the chemise and the corset and the drawers and the petticoats and the corset covers and the bustles. It was just all that clothes. So all the layers compared to by 1920s, it was just a one-piece cami that they would wear for underwear. So the Victorian to the flapper era, the underwear most certainly have changed.
Well, that sounds really cool to go and see. Another event that's taking place on Saturday is we are having special guests at the library. The University of Wisconsin Stevens Point students, they are embarking on a trip to Yellowstone Trail and back from Stevens Point. On the last day of their 2-week course, they are going to be stopping in Hudson, and they're just going to kind of share with us words, sounds, and images from their experiences out west, studying how we balance our desire to protect and enjoy nature with our need for economic development in communities along the Yellowstone Trail. So we absolutely appreciate those students who are going to come in and give a special talk. That is going to take place at the Hudson Public Library from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And by all means, it's a free event, so stop in and definitely come and meet some of these students. Another fun event that's going to take place on Saturday is the Homemade Pie and Ice Cream Social, my personal favorite. That's going to take place at the historic First Baptist Church up on Vine Street. They are going to be doing homemade desserts. So get your full of pie and ice cream while you're kind of doing all these other fun historic events. That's going to take place from 1 to 4. And of course, if the weather is nice and in our favor, which we're hoping for, you can sit out on the front lawn there and take a look at that beautiful church. Jumping into Sunday, one of the great things we're doing on Sunday for the first time ever, this is a new event for us, is the Vintage Fashion Tour. Do you want to speak to that, Jackie?
Again, one of my favorites. This is new, so we're still in the planning stages, but the intent of the event is that it would be a walking tour and we'd have maps available. You would be going from the Baptist Church on 3rd Street up to probably the Jefferson Day House. So in that area, and we are going to have fashion displays at least 4, hopefully 6 houses along the way, and you could see vintage fashion. We're aiming for that Yellowstone Trail era, which was from the 1910, 1912 era up into the 1930s. So fun to go through the Historical Society. We have a wonderful collection of clothing that has been donated to us over the years. And because we are a Victorian mansion, we don't always get to bring out those things from the 20s and 30s. So this is a great opportunity to show some of those items. And as I was researching and looking for things, I ran across the Phipps dress. So the Phipps bed and breakfast is going to be one of the houses, one of the stops on the walking tour. for the vintage fashion, and I found we have in our collection the dress that Helen Phipps wore at her wedding, and and her mother-in-law's dress, what she wore during that wedding. So that'll be lots of fun. I was very excited to be able to find a dress that was actually related to that particular house. And then a little further down the street is the Jefferson Day house, and I found a 1912 dress that was Cecil Day's first wife's dress. So we actually found another dress, and so it's kind of I don't know. I find that intriguing that we can bring out those fashions that were used. Actually related and that person wore that lived in that house. That's kind of fun for me.
That's great. And that's a self-guided tour. So yes. Between the hours of 12 and 3, correct?
Yep, I believe so.
Yep.
12 to 3.
And then also on Sunday is the historic walking tour of downtown,
yes.
which I know last year was very popular. And if there's ever a time where you would like to just get to know your community or even know a little bit more about Hudson, this is one of the events that you might want to take or partake in. Completely free, and just briefly mentioned kind of the route you'll take and what people will learn.
We usually start, excuse me, we usually start down on let me try that one more time. We usually start down by the Hudson Arch, and we have a wonderful volunteer, Peter Close. He's very well versed in history and is very entertaining to listen to. And he'll talk about the early history of Hudson and how important the river was, and as it was back in the early 1840s and 50s. The earlier settlers that came to this area, the lumber industry, when we finally got railroads in, and the impact that they had, and of course the Yellowstone Trail and the toll bridge. So he kind of covers all that early history, and then I take people up Walnut Street and down 2nd Street, and we meander our way up towards the Baptist Church. So we talk about some of the downtown businesses and the histories of those buildings, and the Great Fire of 1866 and what impact that had on the city of Hudson. So there's lots of history. We try and stop ourselves at an hour, so that the walking tour is about a half hour with Peter and then another half hour with me. And like I said, it's hard to contain that all into 1 hour tour. It seems like a long time, but it goes fast. And there's
well over 100 years of history. Yes. That's a lot to talk about.
And we touch on so little of it. There's so much more out there. So that is, like I said, the Heritage Days part of the Yellowstone Trail is why the Historical Society has become so involved with this, and tries to offer as many activities as we can to help make this appeal to those history buffs too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned earlier in the program, at any point in time you can actually drive on the Yellowstone Trail or its modern day equivalent thereof. And as you're out venturing out on Highway 12, by all means stop at Willow River Tree Company and My Sister's Garden. Mm-hmm. They are going to be having some yellow plant specials in honor of our weekend's event on both Saturday and Sunday, so stop out there. A few things on Saturday that I just want to spotlight for you is Coco's Heart Rescue will be down in Lakefront Park from 10 to 1. Come and see those cute little friendly pets. We are also doing a painting in the park session with Audrey. You can sign up, which we encourage you to do because we expect this to be very popular, at birchbarkcreations@icloud.com. That'll take place down in Lakefront Park. You'll actually be doing a scenic picture of the arch with an old car and the Dyke Road. So a great event. That'll be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There is a fee attached in that, and by all means sign up early. Then also, I just want to mention that Saranda has their garden party the Saturday of our event, so stop up there. They are located right across the street from First Baptist Church, so you can get your pie before or after your garden tour. Also, the Master Gardener's plant sale is taking place. That's at 9 a.m., and I know that's a hot one.
Yes.
I've driven up there, and I've seen it very busy.
It's
early.
It's rain or shine, so you want to come early to get the best selection of perennials and flowers and vegetables. I believe it's an annual event, and it's 9 to 1 on the lawns of the Octagon House Museum. So it's always a big event, and
big draw.
That's a rain or shine one. Those plants don't mind if it rains on them, not at all.
They appreciate it probably. Well, just to kind of wrap up, we absolutely want to thank our sponsors who, without them, this type of event would not be able to take place. And we want to acknowledge our platinum sponsors. They are First National Community Bank of Hudson and Wisconsin Credit Union of Hudson. Our gold sponsors are Hot Air Affair and Angel's Pet World. Silver sponsors are Dick's Bar and Grill, Hudson Ford, and Kanoki's Chocolates and Nuts. Bronze sponsors are Family Hair Care with Linda White, First State Bank and Trust, Minuteman Press, My Sister's Garden, and Royal Credit Union. And our patrons are Hudson County Market, SSG Northland Liquors, Holiday Station Store Roberts, and the Willow River Company. And of course, we have numerous partners that help us out in this event. One extremely important partner is the Hudson Area Chamber. They help promote this event on our behalf and definitely give us kind of a larger venue to publicize what we do here. We also want to acknowledge that we are an important member of the Yellowstone Trail. There is a national organization that speaks to the history of the trail from state to state to state. We're a small portion of, obviously, the larger trail. You can learn about any other information on the trail at www.yellowstonetrail.org. The Hudson Star Observer, which is another one of our partners, does produce a special newsprint section that talks about all the upcoming events. So if you didn't get a chance to write all this down, by all means, grab the paper Thursday prior to our event, and you can pick up kind of an itinerary of all the fun things to do. So we thank the Star Observer for putting that together for us. If you have any other information or are seeking questions, or if you have questions or need more information about the Yellowstone Trail event days, by all means check out our Facebook page, which is the St. Croix County Yellowstone Trail. That is STCROIX County Yellowstone Trail. Or visit the Hudson Area Chamber and Tourism Bureau's website at discoverhudsonwi.com. Again, I want to thank our special guest, Jackie Bradham from the Historical Society. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you on Saturday and Sunday, June 6th and 7th, down in Lakefront Park for Yellowstone Trail Heritage Days.